and welcome back to another video. This is part 2 in my Defending Kenny series. If you haven't watched the last part, I'd recommend it, because in that video we defended Kenny's actions in the meat locker. So now we're going to go further in the same episode to another scene which is probably in my eyes more rightly criticised, but still, in my opinion, an action which was the right choice. And that was Kenny overruling Lee's decision to not take from the station wagon, or taking from the station wagon with Lee and getting the supplies. Okay, so first off, let's talk about the group's lack of supplies in the episode itself. So the group was struggling for supplies before the episode, and before the dairy as well. Lily mentions that they only have a week's worth of rations left, and that's including if not everyone gets to eat in a day. They also barely got to eat their dinner, if you want to call it, at the dairy. So whatever nutrition value Mark's legs had, they would have not been able to experience, because Lee practically barreled down the stairs as soon as he found out. And the main reason for this episode is because of the lack of food. The episode's literally called Starve for Help. So that's the whole reason they went to the dairy, because they were desperate for food. And the idea of the group not taking this free chance at food seems kind of illogical, especially given they were willing to trade gasoline for food, which is a pretty valuable resource. Okay, so it's undeniable. I'll go to this. It's undeniable that this moment is the catalyst for episode 5. It's the catalyst for the stranger taking Clementine, and therefore the catalyst for Lee getting bit, and so on and so forth. But it's kind of unfair to blame Kenny for Clementine's abduction when he had no idea the butterfly effect this one action would have. Like, if he knew that doing this would mean Clementine would be kidnapped, Lee would be bitten, the group would be splintered, Ben might die, and Clementine's only left with Krista and Omid, then he would have been less inclined, or just straight up wouldn't have taken the supplies. But because he didn't know that, you can't really blame him for trying to look out for the group. But I will admit this, it is a pretty big catalyst. But one thing people don't understand is it's the stranger's fault for Clementine's abduction and not Kenny. This is a point I've seen less, but I have seen a few people bring it up, and I just don't understand it. Like, let's blame the guy who took the food and not the guy who took the child. I don't understand this. Alright, now there's a question of morality behind the actions taken by Kenny. So many people criticize his actions as immoral, and, well, they're right. In our standards, taking food from someone is still immoral. But then it comes down to practically an age-old question. Is the hobo who robs the store to feed his family immoral? Now, granted, this is a bit of an extreme example, but the requirements are still there. The group is starving at this point, and if they don't take the food, they will die. It's pretty simple as that. They're running low on food, and they might be able to scavenge food elsewhere, but they need this. It's a necessity. And if Kenny did decide to walk away, I'm fairly certain everyone who says this, their opinions would change when Clem began to complain about a worsening hunger over time. So, if you do say Kenny should have left the food, all I'm saying is you were fine with Clementine going hungry for a while. Alright, now let's talk about the stranger himself. Who leaves their car full of supplies empty in the middle of the woods, right? Like, and the worst part is he made no effort to defend them. He left his car on, with the door wide open, and the alarm going off. Well, not the alarm, the ding sound, I should say. And bear in mind, this is at night, so it's a very, very clear to hear. So, if I feel like the stranger should have definitely taken more efforts to defend the car, and maybe make it seem like it wasn't, abandoned. But because he did, Kenny and everyone rightly assumed it was abandoned. Like I said, it could be assumed the car was abandoned. And then the stranger has the audacity to be like, I could have earned her trust back. I think he says this if you take the food in episode 5. My man, you lost your son in the woods. She will never trust you again. Now, did this probably speed up her leaving you? Probably. But the point is, as soon as you lost, I think it was Adam, I believe, your family was gone. You were never getting them back. So, you can't really blame Kenny for taking the food, when by all means the car seemed abandoned, and the owner of the car made no efforts to show that it was still in use. Now, let's talk about people taking the moral high ground in this situation. So many say, oh, I wouldn't have taken the supplies, I would have left them there. For all the group knows, the supplies belong to the bandits. The ones that the St. John's were talking about, the ones that Lee went to, and the ones that they saw killing each other on the way to the dairy. They just don't know, okay? So this could be full of supplies that the bandits could have stolen, and, well, frankly, if that was the case, the group could have seen this as like revenge for, causing the death of Mark. The question is, people who say they wouldn't have taken the supplies, how long would your morals survive in the world of The Walking Dead? And if you say your morals wouldn't have faltered or wavered, you can pat yourself on the back as you starve to death, because your morals just dictated that it's better to keep your morals than to survive. Once again, I want to thank you all for watching this video. It does mean a lot if you like and subscribe. Next video will be probably the most controversial one yet, because we're going to episode 3, and we will be doing a video on, in my opinion, one of Kenny's most abhorrent actions, which even I struggle to defend as Kenny's #1 glazer. Alright, have a good day everyone. See you in the next video.